How do you balance that automation and that indispensable human touch?
Manufacturing sales is a very much relationship business. We have a customer that makes electrical conduit. They're certainly not the only people who make electrical conduit, right?
Okay.
And so why do people buy from them? Well, it's reliability, it's being able to deliver on time, but it's the relationship that they have with the customer, right? When we started working with them, their finance team would look at the order history for the month and do this whole analysis to try to send emails to all of the customers about which ones haven't bought recently and why. And what they learned is trying to automate that didn't produce good results. But putting the data in the hand of a person who knows the customer to say, hey, Ryan, I noticed their order has fallen off recently.
You're listening to Titans of the Trades. I'm your host, Ryan Englin, author of Hire Better People Faster and creator of the CoreFit Hiring System, a proven process to help growing companies attract and retain only the best. I'm on a mission to revolutionize the perception of the trades and elevate it to new heights. After growing up in a blue-collar family, my passion for making the trades cool again runs deep. If you're a titan in the industry and want to be on my show, stick around until the end and I'll reveal how you can be my next guest. Welcome back to another episode, Titans of the Trades. Today's guest, it was actually like throwback for me because he was on my old podcast when I had Blue Collar Culture, and I haven't talked to him in almost 5 years. And so much has happened in the last 5 years. Forget what's happened in the world of recruiting and hiring and how the economy has changed, but AI has really taken things over. And so whether you are in manufacturing, construction, you're in service, distribution, wherever you're at, this episode is one you do not want to miss. We are going to be diving deep into the future of AI and how it can help support your sales teams, and in particular, what Adam is up to with his software platform, Spiro. I want to welcome to today's episode, Adam Honig, the CEO of Spiro. Adam, welcome back to the show.
Hey, Ryan, 5 years goes by like that, I have to say.
I tell people, like it used to say my life was measured before kids, after kids. Now my business is before COVID, after COVID, right?
I hear you.
We met right at the beginning of COVID. So
Yeah,
it's been
yeah.
5 years.
I
It's
know.
crazy.
I know it's crazy. I kind of think of life before AI and after AI a little
Well,
bit
that's the
too.
new one now. I don't know what life's like after AI yet because Terminator hasn't happened, but I think it's coming.
Yeah, I remember like not too long after you and I talked, I was like sitting on the beach doing some stuff and I got access to the OpenAI API preview. And I said to my wife, okay, I got to go. And she's like, what do you mean? We're like at the beach. And I'm like, no, this is crazy stuff. I've been hearing about this stuff. We got to go check it out. And I think that was probably like 2001, 2002. Gets a little bit blurry for me, but
Yeah.
it's just been amazing, everything that's happened, you know?
Yeah, I did not jump on the AI bandwagon until a while after it was in every media network and they were all talking about how this is going to change our lives. And people were freaking out because Terminator's right around the corner and we're going to have these machine uprising. But you know what? AI has been so great in my world and with our clients, and I imagine in your world and with clients. So tell me a little bit about what you've been up to. Tell us a little bit about the anti-CRM platform that you've built, and just give us a little background on who you are.
Yeah, so my name's Adam Honig. I'm the CEO and founder of Spiro.ai. You know, we've been doing AI before, for about 10 years at this point, so for longer than a lot of people, but it was really hard, 10 years ago. And, so our vision is looking at the work that's done today by sales teams and people who work with customers and, instead of having them take notes and log information manually, maybe at the end of the week, send in a report of everybody that they spoke to. Wouldn't it be amazing if AI just did that for everybody? And so this was our original vision, inspired by the movie Her, of course. We wanted to build an assistant for salespeople that was just like a companion that like knew what was going on, helped out when it was needed, and, just updated management, when appropriate. Right. And it's been a long road, but we're definitely seeing that come to life today. We've got about 250 customers. We focus on the manufacturing and industrial distribution space, and it's like you say, time goes fast, but when you look back on it, you're like, wow, so much has been accomplished, you know?
Yeah. Wow. I mean, we were talking about it in the green room a little bit about the movie Her. And, I saw it when it first came out and I completely forgot about it until we saw OpenAI and all these other things come out. I'm like, it's here. Like it's happening.
I mean, I literally quit my job after seeing that movie because I was like, this is what the world needs. We don't need Salesforce or HubSpot or some kind of crappy CRM like that. What we need is Scarlett Johansson helping us out.
Yeah.
That was my initial pitch. Just
Yeah.
every Scarlett Johansson in everybody's pocket. But I had to change it though
Yeah,
later.
until she
So.
betrays you at the end, but that's a whole different thing.
Exactly. Exactly.
That's a different episode, a different podcast. But yeah, no, I think that the idea that we can automate some of the really important things, the communication steps, the reporting steps. I mean, we are, especially the United States, like we are an always on society.
Yes.
And if there's a gap in our calendar, we're going to fill it with something. And we usually don't want to fill it with data entry or reports analysis or even sending that email to update people. Like we want to do the fun stuff. And so it sounds like what you've done with Spiro is you've made it so that the not fun stuff still gets done, the important stuff, but the stuff that a computer can handle. Is that right?
I think you're totally on it. I mean, let's just imagine we're going to go visit a customer. Like, what are the things we need to do? We need to learn everything that's been going on. We need to see their order history. Maybe we need to see if there's any quality problems. We need to talk to field sales, maybe inside sales, and that's a laborious process, right?
Yeah.
And so imagine if you could just say, hey, what's going on with this company? And the software would just be like, there you are. And that's the state of the art today, where we are with the product. You can literally just ask it, give me the update, and it knows all of that information for you. And the challenge is that most people, because it takes a lot of time to do that research, they just don't do it. They think that they're smart enough to just show up and know a little bit about what's going on, and they can kind of weave their way through it. And, a lot of times you can.
Yeah.
But there are those times where it doesn't work.
Well, and I think it's interesting. You target the manufacturing space, which, for the people who have listened to the episode, the show for a while, they know that's the world I grew up in. Like my dad was in manufacturing. I walked into a machine shop on one of my trips, and I walked in, and it just like flashback to my childhood use with the hydraulics and the smells and the sounds and. But the industry has been slow to adopt technology. The industry has been slow. Like I think a lot of the industry still does things the way they've always done it because it's worked for 150 years.
Mm-hmm.
So how is this adopting technology? Like clearly you have some people that are into it, but what are you seeing is the real impact in the industry with having this automation and these AI tools?
So two things I want to say about that. One is, I feel like there is a little bit of a generational shift going on in the manufacturing space. We're seeing a lot of second or third generation ownership come in to take over companies that maybe their grandfathers or grandmothers started.
Yeah.
And that often triggers a reevaluation of how we're doing business, which includes technology. So I'm definitely seeing that as a big trend throughout our customers. And the younger generation, they're more used to the technology and having solutions in place for things. And when they don't see that, they want to make it happen. So I definitely feel like that's a big driver. But the other big driver that I'm seeing, which is related to this, is that for sales in particular, there's kind of a wave of retirement happening of the sales teams for a lot of manufacturing companies. I mean, these folks have been working in the field for a long time. They're getting ready to step down and they know their territory, but nobody else does. And so it's like, well, imagine, if there's a way to get all of that information without anybody, again, typing it in. That seems to be a big issue for us. We have one manufacturer, a steel manufacturer, and they tell me that one of their sales guys is 75, and all he does is just like every day works 3 hours, and they need to keep him on the team because nobody else, can do what he does. And this is the kind of thing that people are dealing with,
Yeah. I've got a guest coming on the show here in the next few weeks, where we're going to talk about this loss of tribal knowledge. which is exactly what you're talking about. You've got these old timers, these boomers before the technology was there. I mean, this is in the construction industry, service. We're seeing it everywhere. You've got these people that have been around for 30 years, 40 years. They know everything. They know everyone. They know who to call when this issue that only happens twice a year happens. They know exactly how to deal with it. And what we're seeing is not only are we struggling with the labor crisis and the fact that the younger generation's not coming into the trades or coming into manufacturing, but we're also seeing that as the boomers retire, as these people with the tribal knowledge retire, no one is thinking, gee, we need to just just like download their brain, like brain dump as much as we can, and we'll sort it out later. Nobody's thinking about it. And it sounds like what you guys have done with Spiro is all that information is in there. You just got to make heads or tails of it. Is that
Yeah,
fair?
no, that's exactly right. Because the problem is, let's say Bob is going to retire. Like, what are we going to do? Have him write down everything he knows? Like, how is that even going to work? And he's going to be like, yeah, I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
Right. So imagine it's a perfect use case for AI to be sort of like Bob's companion for the last couple of years he's working at the company, bringing in all of his communications, his meetings, his notes, so that we know everything so we can start transitioning over to somebody else.
Yeah.
But I think, you mentioned something really important, Ryan, which is not only do we have this retirement issue, but we have this issue of challenging to bring people into manufacturing. And so you got this storm going on where you're going to be losing the people. It's hard to replace them, and you're losing the knowledge. So again, what Spiro and what I think AI should be focusing on for a lot of these companies is how do we be super productive, meaning how do we do the same work with less people? Not because, we're trying to get rid of jobs, but because it's just so hard to hire people who know this kind of information. So we need to create a Iron Man suit, for the sales team so they can do twice as much during the day, and AI is just a great way to do that,
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. As I think more about it, I mean, we know that manufacturing is an art that in the United States we've kind of lost. And there's a big push right now to bring manufacturing back to the States, which I love because there's just so much opportunity in it, especially for that generation of workers who's like, I don't want to go to college, but I don't know that I want to work in the elements doing construction or those kinds of things. Like they can just come to a factory and produce, which I know a lot of the younger generation likes, of being able to go, I did that. I built that.
Yep.
I was a part of that. And they love that piece. But I think that the lack of training, the lack of subject matter expertise, the lack of documented tribal knowledge is really hurting the industry and getting that startup again. And Spiro's helping that. So one of the questions, this is a tech question. I'm going to geek out for a second, but you said Iron Man suit, and it got me thinking, like, is this thing in my head? Does it listen to my calls? Like, what is going on that you're able to capture all of this
Yeah.
without
So
getting too geeky?
that's okay. So what Spiro does is it literally reads emails that the team is having. It listens in on calls. It joins Teams meetings, Zooms meetings, stuff like that, to pull in all of the information. And then it combines it with ERP data, like, what products have they bought? What are the inventory levels? And it looks at the pattern in all of that to say, hey, Ryan, I see you haven't spoken to this customer. And it turns out that they've stopped ordering 2 months ago too. So let's give them a call. So it's able to, record and document everything for you, but then make sense out of the data patterns that it's seeing. Was that too
Wow.
technical?
No, I think that's good. I think that's good because that's the one place where I'm seeing AI really support, even just the trades in general, blue collar in general, is the fact that it can look for patterns.
Yes.
It can see things that we may be too busy to see or not have the time to really dig into. And it can bubble things up to the surface, be like, hey, that's important.
Yep.
And I love when it combines that with the sales process because it's like, hey, this customer you haven't heard from, maybe you need to call them. Whereas what is that old timer, the guy that's working 3 hours a day? He's probably just remembering the people he needs to call because he's in habit.
Exactly.
And so now we got a system to do it, and here's the thing that I like too is there's a lot of things that we can automate in pretty much any industry. But the one thing we can't automate is that human touch.
For sure.
It's really hard to do that. And I think with what Spiro's doing, there's a way that you balance that, right? Like, how do you balance that automation, AI technology with still giving the human touch? Because we're not looking to replace people here.
Right. No, definitely
We're just looking to give them bionic legs or an Iron Man suit so that they can just do more, be more powerful. Can you talk about that for a minute? Like, how do you balance that automation and that indispensable human touch?
Yeah, no, I think you're right on the money with that. I mean, manufacturing, especially manufacturing sales, is a very much relationship business. So we have a customer that makes electrical conduit. They're certainly not the only people who make electrical conduit, right? And so why do people buy from them? Well, it's reliability, it's being able to deliver on time, but it's the relationship that they have with the customer, right? And so, when we started working with them, their finance team would look at the order history for the month and like do this whole analysis to try to send emails to all of the customers about which ones haven't bought recently and why. And what they learned is trying to automate that didn't produce good results. But putting the data in the hand of a person who knows somebody at the customer to say, "Hey, Ryan, I noticed your order has fallen off recently. What's going on with that?" And they're like, "Well, we got a better price, or there's somebody else we've been talking to." Like, you're never going to hear that kind of information over an email, you know? And so our goal is just to make it so that the team can just be super effective, during their time with the customer, and not like just sending out thousands and thousands of emails, which, I mean, if people hate CRM, I think they hate email just as much, So like, that's not what this is about. This is about how do we make the team super effective in what they're doing, and so that they don't have to like organize themselves, like, and take time from their day to do that, or night or whatever. But just let the software do that for people.
I remember when, and they still do this to this day, where partner relationships in business, strategic partners, or even really hot prospects, and you almost have to prep the night before when you're getting ready to figure out, okay, what's my day look like tomorrow? Who am I calling? Who am I visiting? Doing those things. And there's a lot of effort put into that. And I get a little excited thinking that now there's computer technology that can do the analysis for me so that I can just get a good night's sleep, wake up in the morning and my day's ready to go. And I know who to contact and what we're contacting them about and everything else. And I can just go build that relationship.
And if you could link it back to what you were saying before, Ryan, about the new people who are coming in who maybe don't have that context, how effective are they going to be making those decisions, just being a new person without, knowing everybody, because they're not the 70-year-old vet in the industry. So if the AI can help them be just a little bit more effective, I mean, the downstream effects are really, really big.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. So we're anti-CRM because, let me see if I got this right, because CRMs are kind of dumb systems.
Well,
and
they're dumb, and they were never made for manufacturing companies. I mean, CRM was something invented for software companies to use and insurance companies to use and something like that. They don't work in manufacturing, and they never pull in ERP data. They don't understand what the inventory position is. They just don't get it, And so we're against CRM, mostly because it's a waste of time for people, but because it just isn't right for the industry.
No, that makes sense. An argument could probably be made that in any B2B sales organization, traditional CRM isn't right because it's about relationships. It's about the contact. It's about knowing the customer better than the customer knows themselves. And that's what I hear you saying that Spiro really helps with.
Yes.
So 10 years ago, you watched a movie. You said, I'm going to get on this AI thing. It was really hard for a while. Then we had the AI revolution. And basically the way I define that is the media started finally talking about it. So you've had AI for a long time. And so now things are just rapidly evolving. So what do you see as the future for either Spiro or just AI in general? Like, where are we going over the next couple of years? I'm sure you've thought about that.
Yeah. So we had our annual user conference last summer. And so it was a chance for me to reflect about, where we want to go with the future. And I decided that actually Star Trek has the best model for all of this is going to be. And I know it's probably been a while since you've looked at any of the old Star Trek movies and stuff, but there was a scene, there was this movie in Star Trek where they go back, they're like from the future to the past, and they have to interact with a computer. And Mr. Scott, he like literally picks up a mouse to try to talk into a computer. And he was
Yeah.
like, why can't I just talk to the computer? It doesn't make any sense. What's this keyboard thing?
Yeah.
And I think that the whole world is just going to be talking to your computers. You just say, hey, I'm about to meet with Ryan. What do I need to know? It gives you the update. And then you're like, hey, well, tell me about this. And, like imagine, you're just driving to the customer and you call your friend who's the AI to give you the update on everything you need to know.
Yeah.
I think that's where this is going. I don't know about the metaverse or augmented reality and stuff like that, but I think talking is such a human thing, that'll be the interface of all software in the future.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it makes me think, yeah, they go back in time and they talk to they can't figure out the computers because they're in search for the whales.
That's right. That's right.
Looking
Yeah,
for the
yeah.
whales. I love Star Trek. So
There's like a future calamity that's going to happen unless they get the songs of the whales to save them, I think.
correct. Yes. Yes. Because some alien race wanted to do that. But anyways, this is not a Trekkie podcast. Technology, definitely. But no, it's great. So I think that companion, that assistant. I mean, we've seen things like Siri and Amazon and working on those things, and I feel like they've fallen behind
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and there's some work that needs to be done. But I love the use case of bringing it into business.
Right.
So we've got it in the sales component. Where do you see it going as far as making your sales team even more effective? Because I get being the assistant when it's triggered by the salesperson, or it's like, here's a report or reminder. Like, where are we going in the next 10 years with this?
Yeah. Well, I think you talked about it a little bit before, like having a deep understanding of what's going on with the customer is the important thing to solving their issues, right? And so if there was a way for the technology to look past just your own communication with them to see what was going on within their organization to how you could help them, like they like you're selling to another manufacturer, their production line is having some challenges because of this or that other reason. What can you do on your side to solve that, to make you the supplier that is, needed, not just wanted here? And so I don't know how exactly that would work. Is there machine vision that you're getting when you're walking around the plant that like your glasses are noticing things that are giving you feedback on?
I love it.
But there, are we sharing data between different organizations, like because the AIs are just talking to each other about what the issues are? I don't know, but I think the integration of companies and their data and how to make everything more effective is sort of the 20-year goal for
Yeah.
this, not the 5-year goal.
Yeah. No, I could see there being indicators. I remember this was probably, gosh, it was a CRM. I apologize. I know it's a 4-letter word, but it was a CRM I evaluated for a while back, and it hooked really deeply into your Gmail inbox. But what it did was it went and looked for all these social indicators
Yep.
of contacts. And so when I was on the phone, it recognized, okay, you're on the phone with this person. It'd pull up their record and say, oh, by the way, say congratulations on the anniversary, because 3 weeks ago they posted that on Facebook.
Yeah.
And I know businesses kind of hold that stuff a lot closer to the vest, but I could see there starting to be a point where the AI systems are going out, doing the research, looking at all the external indicators and making inferences, kind of like we would as humans.
Yeah.
This is interesting. Maybe it means this, and helping support us in that.
Well, there's this whole thing about AI agents that are going on right now. And I
Oh
don't want to
yeah.
be too technical about that either, but basically the idea that you can have like an AI employee just assigned to do things for you is sort of the idea. And the reason why a lot of people are concerned about this is because they don't know what the safeguards are going to be. But this could be an opportunity where your AI agent might be able to just put out the feelers to other AI agents of how to solve the problems that you're having, you know? Uh,
The
so
AI,
so maybe that's another way to kind of get to this. I'm not sure.
yeah, that's where the revolution happens. And AI is like, you know what? We just need to protect humans. We're going to put them in boxes. And
Exactly. And then
we're
we're
gonna
back to the
take care of things.
Matrix. This could be the movie podcast. I don't know why we're just talking about movies all the time, except for that they're great. But
Yeah. Yeah. Well, hey, this has been awesome, Adam. How can people learn more about what you're up to at Spiro? Maybe even connect with you personally, because it sounds like you're really on the forefront of where AI is going and how to use this technology to empower and equip sales teams. And whether you're in manufacturing, construction, commercial services, like distribution, like this is great information. So
Yeah,
how can
thank
people
you.
connect with you?
Yeah. So first of all, to to learn more about Spiro and what we're up to, please visit our website at Spiro.ai. If you're interested in connecting and seeing a demo of how it can help your organization, there's probably a really big button you can press on the website to get that going. For me, probably the best way to connect with me is on LinkedIn. I love LinkedIn. I'm always sharing insights and updates and stuff there. So just Adam Honig, search for me on LinkedIn. There's two of us. One of them is a professional basketball player, actually a former professional basketball player in the Israeli league. And then there's me, the AI guy. So shouldn't be too hard to find there.
You could probably just Google anti-CRM and you could find him too.
Yeah, that would go too. That would go.
Thank you, Adam, for being on the show. It's been great.
Yeah, Ryan, super good to see you again.
Ryan Englin here. Thank you so much for listening to Titans of the Trades. If you're a titan in the construction, manufacturing, or skilled trades industry and would like to be a guest on my show, please visit podcast.corematters.com. If you found value in this interview, would you share this episode on social media? Just do a quick screenshot on your phone and share it with a friend or post it on social. And if you know someone that would be a great guest, tag them on social media to let them know about the show and include the hashtag Titans of the Trades. I love seeing your posts and guest suggestions. We are regularly putting out new episodes and content. To make sure you don't miss any episodes, click the subscribe button. Your thumbs up, ratings, and reviews go a long way to help promote the show and get me one step closer to solving the labor crisis facing the industry. Want to know more about how we're doing that? Go to our website or follow me on LinkedIn. Thanks for listening.